Hey, BaldPipeSmoker. This is a VR to the BaldPipeSmokers contest of 100 subs. He's already over the 100 subs. Congratulations. I think everybody enjoys your reviews. We like your videos, so keep them coming. So in this contest, you said we need to be smoking a pipe. And we need to tell a funny story about us. If you've been keeping up with my childhood memories and stories and things like that, my childhood stories, I've got a few funny ones in there, but this is one that happened maybe 15 years ago. And so if you follow my channel, you know I like to hunt and fish, and this happened one time when I was out fishing. Me and a buddy were out fishing. One of the places, we don't do a boat or anything, we do it all from the shore, the bank, whether it be a river, a lake, or whatever. And a couple of places we like to go fishing is below the lake, below the spillway of a dam. So at a dam, typically you've got several flood gates that they will open if it's at flood stage or getting close to let water through to bring the level down. And then they will have turbines that they let water through to generate electricity. And so we would always get online, check when they were going to be open, how many were going to be open. Because if too many are open, I mean, it's, the water's too high, too turbulent. And so below these dams where they let the water out, they've got like rocks. Now, I'm not talking about gravel. I'm talking about boulder. I mean, big, huge rocks to help with erosion, because you've got all that water rushing through there. And after years and years of water, most of those rocks are fairly smooth. So it depends on what you're fishing for. We might be, using lighter poles and fishing for like sand bass or white bass right up along the creek line. Because when they let water through the turbines or anything, typically you got the little shad, little minnows, and all those little fish coming through, and the other fish down here like to feed on them. Now you've also got a lot of big catfish. They will sit down there waiting on even some of the bigger minnows or bigger shad to come through. And so we would park up top. They had a parking space, and you would crawl, walk, hopple down all these rocks. I can't tell you how many people I've seen fall and, break poles and everything. And so one time we were going to go fishing for catfish. So we had like our big surf rods. I mean, you got to have a big surf rod, because when you get all that water coming through that dam, it's pretty heavy. And so what we would use for bait would be shad. So we would go right up as close as we could get. They wouldn't let you go right up to the dam, but as close as we could legally get to the dam. And then I had a casting net, so I could catch shad to use for bait. So we'd take a casting net and a 5-gallon bucket down there. And then as you throw the casting net, it kind of goes out into a circle, drops, and there's weights along the outside edge, and those weights drop it down. And then you have a rope that you pull and up in the center, and it pulls those weights together, and hopefully you catch your shad. And so we would throw it out, catch our shad, dump them in a 5-gallon bucket, and then we would take those back downstream, and then that's what we would use as bait up our big hooks and throw them out and catch catfish. So one time down there, we're getting ready to throw the we're gonna catch some shad. We're gonna throw the casting net out. And I got a pretty big casting net, so it takes some pretty good force you almost gather it up. You can watch a video online on YouTube if you want, but you almost kind of fling it like a frisbee, and then it kind of unfurls and comes out into a big circle and hits the water, and down it goes, and you pull your shad up or whatever else. We got some drumfish. I mean, who knows, when they're letting water out of the dam, you're going to catch anything and everything in there. And so, of course, as you bring it back in, you got all your net just dripping with water down at your feet on the rocks. Well, you can guess what's getting ready to happen probably. And you said a funny story that happened to me. This wasn't too funny at the time. My buddy thought it was funny, but so I throw the net out, pull it in, we catch some shad, dump it in the bucket. Well, we don't think it's quite enough, so I'm going to throw it again. Of course, now water has dripped on those rocks. And when you pull it in, you may have a good gallon of water that drops at your feet. And then, so now those rocks that have been worn very smooth become extremely slick. So, what do? I'm standing on a wet, slick rock, and I rear back because I want to throw it out there and get it as big, wide circle as I can as it comes down. And as I throw it, my foot just shoots out, and I go right off the edge of the rock, and in about a millisecond, I am neck deep in water. Because when you're talking about, it's not like you're wading in a lake or the ocean where you got a beach that slowly goes in. When you're talking, you got these rocks that come at a very steep angle down into the bottom of the riverbed. And so, and luckily my buddy, who was laughing hilariously at me, had enough sense to grab around, put his arm and, hook my chin in his arm there. And I was able to, crawl back up and, I wasn't pissed or anything. I thought, boy, I was more upset because I was so stupid at doing that. I know better than that, but he thought it was hilarious. And it was early spring, so it wasn't incredibly hot. The sun was out, thankfully. But there's no way we're going to stop fishing and go home to change clothes or whatever. So I just pull my shirt off, prop it up out there on a rock. And, eventually, it took maybe an hour. My shirt dries, put it back on. We keep fishing. I don't know that my pants ever did dry. Probably took them all day to dry, but so anyway, he thought it was hilarious. And the big thing was, in an instant, I'm standing on a rock. The next instant, I am chin deep in water. And you got that water coming out of the dam, you better hang on. Because if it starts to wash you downstream on those rocks, you are going to be beat up, if not beat to death. So, anyway, there's a funny story for you. Yeah, you can laugh at me, and you had to be there. He thought it was hilarious. I'm glad there wasn't a bunch of people around, but he thought it was hilarious. And so there's a funny story that happened to me. Hopefully it never happens to you. If you're using a casting net below a dam on the rocks, pull the net in and then maybe move to a dry rock before you go to throw it. Because I had to get some force to throw it out, and just like that, boom, I'm underwater almost. So anyway, hey, thanks for the contest. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy my story, and I'll catch you next time.